Just to preface this oncoming rant, my opinions are my own, obviously. I adore the show regardless of what I am going to voice here right now. And no piece of media is perfect, flawless, and unproblematic. What is best to do, however, is acknowledge the parts where a piece of media that you love legitimately fumbles, not to ignore them, or worse, defend them. I don't care about changing people's opinions to match my own. I am just voicing my opinion and hoping that anyone that agrees might subscribe. If you don't, you're free to ignore. Okay? Good. I don't hate Kai Green. I don't like her with Ben, but that is a whole different thing that we are going to discuss further down the line. My feelings regarding her are mixed. Very mixed. I do agree Kai had the potential to be a great character, but unfortunately she was handled by writers that either didn't know or didn't research enough how to do a Native American character justice, which only did her a disservice. Is she still interesting? Yeah, but not for the reasons you think. As I said, you are all free to disagree, but Kai's portrayal, especially in Omniverse, doesn't actually give credence to the idea that she's a good person. In fact, she isn't a good person, for a variety of reasons, many of those dealing with how she treats Ben, but as I said, that comes later. Firstly, I am going to touch upon Kai's connection to her Navajo roots, or well, rather her lack of a connection in Omniverse, and how that makes her work as an archaeologist morally contemptible. Because she isn't an archaeologist. Neither her nor her grandfather Wes are. They are instead the Lara Croft and Indiana Jones type figures in the Benton universe. And if I have any Native American people watching me, you probably cringed a little at that if you also know the problems surrounding Lara Croft and Indiana Jones. Basically, to have two Native American characters breaking into ancient alien temples and places of worship to steal ancient alien artifacts that they don't even truly know what they do, really? To go present them at human museums, probably being paid by human people to do so is... yeah. Well, it makes the idea that the whole reason why they do it is to bring aliens and humans together seem very hypocritical. And morally dubious at best. Kai and Wes Green are grave robbers. There's no two ways about it. They are two Native American people that are doing the exact same thing to other sapient races that was done to their own people, with seemingly no remorse, as well as actively justifying it and pretending like they have a different reason for doing it. They are not good people. And that is what makes them so interesting to me. Because then you have to wonder why exactly they would choose to carry out an intrinsically immoral act, one that their own people have unfortunately been very acquainted with in their own history. Of course, you could see this as a failure on part of the writers. Generally, and I will speak on this later in the video, while I personally don't think their intent and their general presentation of Kai and Wes Green was as blatantly and maliciously racist as some other media has represented natives, they certainly dropped the ball particularly hard with them. To me, it still makes them interesting characters because of the implications of two people of color, specifically natives, engaging in acts that in previous times caused so much pain to their people, specifically towards cultures of creatures not that different from them. After all, aliens have been subjected to what? 3 attempted genocides by human hands on Earth in Ben 10's recent history? The US government literally created a prison colony for illegal alien immigrants within Area 51. Undertown, while being a bustling community, is still literally a settlement, with no clear representative of any kind, let alone one that will look to the needs of the citizens under the context of coexistence with humanity. Unless you want to consider the plumbers as their representatives, since they literally have no one else. The aliens in Ben 10 share a lot of similarities with human minority groups and their struggles, and yet their cultures and their history are still taken advantage of for human exploitation and gain by 2 people who most definitely would be able to empathize and genuinely care about preserving their histories in the right way, yet don't, actually. Their museum presentations happen at exclusively human-led museums, with human technology and human security. Sure, both humans and aliens go to see them, but the money gotten from admissions, plus the fact that surely the museum itself is paying for them to find these relics, and all of that money is falling to human hands with no representatives of intergalactic law actively working with them in a historical preservation project for alien history on Earth doesn't look good. And you could argue, but Wes is a plumber, he's retired. He's an ex-plumber, he's retired. And I doubt even if he was a plumber still that he'd have the authority and capacity to head this as the only representative of the authority of the Plumbers Union in that museum. And even then, that doesn't change the fact that active profit is surely being made from this. Because there is no such thing as museum presentations being done for free. It just, generally doesn't look good. Kai and Wes's main stance is that they're helping to preserve alien history on Earth. They are helping bring aliens and humans together through their shared history. But don't misconstrue things, they are not preserving alien history on Earth. There are legitimate ways to engage in archaeology that don't consist on breaking and entering and destroying these hundreds of years old places, which essentially entails just take photos of them and leave them alone. Let me not even get into the potential. Future Kai, potential. Read my lips again. Potential. Because none of you understand how the show fucking works. It doesn't work like that. There is no set future. Stopping down. But anyways, let me not even get into the potential future Kai from the future shown to us in Omniverse having her own personal collection that is also super immoral and makes her look even worse and more hypocritical than her younger self. And being completely honest, considering how much Kai clearly fetishizes aliens, I wouldn't be shocked if she is fully aware that she is wrong. But given Kai is also incapable of accepting that she might be wrong on something, she just refuses to ever acknowledge it. It's really difficult to consider that a person that wanted to keep a sentient being on a leash and never once admitted how fucked that was, instead doubling down and justifying it, is also a person that can be trusted to help head archaeological projects regarding sentient non-human beings' stories with anything resembling genuine respect. And Kai does fetishize aliens, by the way. And talking about fetishization, I'm just going to say it. Kai's connection to her heritage doesn't even exist in Ben 10 Omniverse. In the original Ben 10 it did, but it wasn't as Well, most definitely I think the writers played it particularly safe with the portrayal of Navajo customs to the point of also not being true to Navajo identity. Obviously, I can't fully give my opinion regarding the particular topic of if the portrayal of Navajo culture in the original Ben 10 series is offensive or not. Because I am not Navajo, so it isn't up to me to decide, but I do think it is the most respectful exclusively because of how bare bones it is. At least they didn't go for obviously racist caricatures like Disney. And you know, they changed the wording of the creature that was the main source of conflict for the episode to Navajo werewolf because the actual word is seen as far worse to use by Native Americans if you're not one. Was the wording still unfortunate? Yeah. But there was an attempt. Ben 10 is not the worst exemplar when it comes to not great Native American rep, despite the fact that the Native American rep in the show was still not great. Especially, it wasn't great in one particular part of it. So, do any of you know what the Ali Nadi test is? Basically, it is a character test that evaluates representation of indigenous women in media. Hyper-specifically, for years Native American rights advocates have called out the implementation of specifically indigenous women, read my lips, specifically indigenous women as nothing more than the love interest of a white male protagonist or as a prop for another character's story as being fetishization of indigenous women. Read my lips again. Fetishization of indigenous women. Okay? Making Kai be Ben's endgame love interest regardless of how nonsensical and forced that was in the canon of the show, isn't as progressive as you think it is. And Kai most definitely doesn't pass the Ali Nadi test, and Native American people agree it isn't as progressive as you all think. Even worse, it didn't have to be this way. In Kai's debut episode, the only episode, by the way, where the actual character appeared in for years before Omniverse's final arc aired, Kai didn't have any feelings for Ben. She was only interested because he was transforming into a literal alien wolf. Ben was the one that had a puppy crush on Kai, literally. But when it is clear that it was not going to work, Gwen gives us the best piece of advice one could give regarding crushes. The thing about crushes is, sometimes you get crushed. You aren't going to be liked back just because you have a crush. Your crush may be far different than you think, and when expectation meets reality, your fantasy is just going to crumble down. Excuse me. And that's perfectly okay. Sometimes two people are not meant for each other. And that was a brilliant moral, and they fucked it. They fucked it due to whoever was insisting by the end stages of Omniverse to tie it back to Classic. And I am so sorry to say, going against all that was previously established just to shoehorn these two together was probably one of the worst decisions they could have made, and led to them doing a disservice not only to their main character, but the only Native American female in their entire cast. It's unfortunate. In the end, Kai would have been far better off just not being brought back if her character was going to be mishandled so thoroughly. Yeah. This is the part of the video where I might actually get a little heated. I wasn't heated before. This is it. This is the time where I might start getting a little angry. Just to warn you all. Okay? Okay. Bullying the person you have a crush on isn't cute. Bold statement, I know. And what I mean by bullying is what Kai usually does to Ben. That is bullying. There's a difference between bullying and friendly teasing, and Kai has never turned it down when it comes to Ben. Their fights can be read as genuine hate-filled fights, and that is one of the main reasons why, out of the 80 episodes that make up Ben 10 Omniverse, I keep all of the episodes with Kai in them in what I like to call my unwatchable list. Watching these two share a scene is insufferable. It's not entertaining to be watching two 17-year-olds bicker and fight with each other like an old loveless marriage. It's not entertaining also to watch a girl force herself on a guy she has been calling stupid for most of the episodes she has been on. And no, I don't actually believe Ben secretly likes it. Unlike the rest of you, I don't agree with anything that has come out of DJW's mouth. He most definitely never clearly voiced it to Kai. In fact, he more than once did the opposite and made it clear he was uncomfortable with Kai breaching his personal space without consent. And let's talk a little bit more about Kai's behavior. And this section is going to be a call out to the fandom and how they speak on her behavior compared to others. How they speak on the rest of the character's behavior compared to one character specifically, actually. Years ago, there was a post on the Ben 10 subreddit. The people in that thread essentially argued that Ben took advantage of Eunice because she was a newly made being, and them almost kissing would have been Ben basically forcing himself on her or some shit. This follows an ongoing fucking mimetic hazard on the Ben 10 fandom, which always goes like this. Ben Tennyson is the devil. He's the most awful person in the Ben 10 universe. The actual villain. Even the villains of the show don't compare to how horrid he is. He's a psychopath, a narcissist, a sociopath who loves and cares about no one but himself. This is most definitely correct, and not flanderization and the demonization of the main character of the show we supposedly like. Don't you dare say he's not awful. Don't you dare say other characters are. They are innocent and good compared to him. You're reading too much into it and misrepresenting them. They're just teenagers. They should get a pass, although Ben doesn't get a pass because he doesn't deserve it. He's so terrible. So awful. If not all of them get a pass, then none of them get a pass. Save me your hypocritical sensibilities. If Ben supposedly assaulted Eunice, took advantage of her, then how come Kai's actions aren't considered assault as well? Here's the reality of it. You all don't see it that way just because it is Kai doing it to Ben. And Ben always deserves this. If Ben was the one doing this instead, he would be even more despised than he is already. It's sexism, plain and simple. Women can sexually assault men because they're women, and then when actual cases of male victims of assault by female perpetrators pop up, they are mocked and blamed and told they deserve it. The idea that women cannot harm men is dangerous and has aged like milk, and I will not stand for it. Okay? Kai fetishizes and dehumanizes aliens. Would the things that she says and does to Ben regarding his alien forms be in any way okay if she did it to any other member of the alien species that Ben can turn into? No. Ben didn't deserve a love interest that constantly knocked him down a peg, because that led to badly written chemistry. I don't care about your Buffy the Vampire Slayer syndrome bullshit. That still doesn't make it good writing. Kai is consistently horrid to Ben. You could spin it however you desire. Even by cartoon standards, the idea that she loves him genuinely is unbelievable. In fact, it almost makes you wonder what Ben did, besides exist, of course, that made Kai hate him so much. People hold the belief that Ben was equally as bad, if not worse, than Kai in their arguments, even though, no, he isn't. Defending yourself isn't being just as bad as the person shitting on you. God. This fanbase fucking exhausts me. You all exhaust me. Considering Kai, her character, and how badly it was handled, in and of itself, exhausts me. If it was the main character everyone loves to hate in this fandom, he would be grilled. But given it is Kai, people jump through hoops to justify what is objectively shown in the show as somehow okay, despite the fact that it isn't. And what my mind refuses to drop is how none of this had to be this way. Ben 10, disregarding this particular thing, is an amazing series. Ben 10 Omniverse is generally a wonderful experience visually and story-wise. It is one of my favorite iterations of the show. Ben Tennyson and the series that is named after him got me through pretty horrible times of my life. My love for it is the reason why I am so passionate about it and about this specifically. Because I doubt that the creators and writers and producers of Ben 10 are somehow capable of creating really good stories, yet are not capable enough to write both a good endgame for their protagonist and also do justice to the only Native American characters they have. Ben Tennyson deserved a love interest that actually loves him for him, that isn't seeking the watch or the fame or the alien forms he can take on, that isn't constantly insulting and demeaning him. Sure, you can make them have a rivalry, but give them a healthy one where both characters are learning and growing alongside one another and not constantly tearing each other down. And Kai Green deserved to be her own character. She deserved to be a character, period. Removed from being a plot device to other characters' stories. She deserved to earn Excalibur by her own merits, to become a knight in the defense of alien culture and history against humanity's attempts to profit from it and steal it. To become an actual hero, not just the wife of one. And don't even get me started on them being married. No way in hell will you ever convince me they love each other enough to even get married and have a kid. You can't trick me. Sons of bitches, I'm a child of divorce, damn it. I know how this... Thanks for watching. If you liked my insane rambling and you want to see me lose my mind about more things, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you're a Ben 10 fan, oh, I'm not done. I'm not done with you all. You'll see more soon.